Good morning. This is Justin Villery again from the Committee of 70 Studio C70 on Election Day. We are very excited as we continue our day-long program to have Marc Zucker, the Chancellor of the Philadelphia Bar Association, come join us today to speak about the Bar Association's commission on, I'm getting an echo, so let me turn that down. There we go. You all evaluate candidates for campaigning and retention. So we want to hear that process and discuss the process by that. So thank you very much, Marc, for being here. Appreciate it.
Happy to be here. It's a busy day with Election Day, and we're all hopefully rushing to the polls for what I consider to be consequential elections.
Marc, can you explain then your rating system and the research that went into creating it for this cycle?
Sure. So the Bar Association has what we call the Commission on Judicial Selection and Retention. It's got 36 commission members that ultimately vote on whether to provide a rating of recommended, highly recommended, or not recommended for each attorney who is running to be a judge, and for each judge who is running to be retained for another 10-year term. But that oversimplifies it, because behind the scenes, the commission relies on investigative information provided by hundreds of investigators. We had many volunteers who formed teams of 5 to investigate each of these folks. And each team includes both lawyers and non-lawyers. And they scour the internet. They contact people who have been in cases with the attorneys running for judge, or who have been in front of the judges running for retention. They get new names from those they interview. They check disciplinary records. They check school transcripts, judgments that may be recorded against one of these candidates for unpaid taxes or unpaid bills, etc. And they evaluate each of the candidates based on 10 criteria, which are available for anyone who wants to go on our website and look. But essentially, it's everything from legal experience, knowledge of the rules, to community involvement, temperament, physical and mental capacity, dedication to the rule of law, and actions taken to advance the system of justice, things of that sort. All 10 criteria are evaluated. They're put in a confidential report. The report is given to the commission. The commission then meets with the candidate, typically more recently via Zoom, but nevertheless, unlike the meeting with the team, these are digital now over Zoom, and then there are confidential deliberations, which result in the rating.
All right, so you actually anticipated my first question about the next question about criteria. So can you talk a little bit more about who the members are who are doing these investigations?
Yeah, so we've tried to assemble a really diverse group of constituencies so that the ratings really reflect a broad spectrum of our legal community. So that includes everyone from representatives of the DA's office and the public defender's office to representatives of various sections of our bar association, the business law section, the public interest section, etc., as well as affinity groups. So there is an association of Black lawyers in Philadelphia called the Barristers Association. They have a representative. There is the Hispanic Bar Association representative, the Asian Pacific Bar Association representative. There are lay members of the commission as well. I have not mentioned all the other legal based members, but in addition, we have lay positions, because it's very important to us that we hear a perspective that lawyers may not be hearing, and so that those decisions that are made really are reflective of the community. And I, as Chancellor, hold an ex officio position on the commission, as does the Chancellor-elect and the Vice Chancellor. So we get our input as well.
You started to talk a little bit about how those teams work and then what the investigation entails. Can you go into a little more detail on, like, how long does it take? What's the process by which all the process?
Yeah, well, so I think we've collectively spent about 2,000 hours this year. And by this year, I mean this season. We actually began last fall, once candidates made it known that they were running. We started those investigative teams and started meeting so that we hit the ground running, so to speak. But it really is hours and hours of investigation. We pride ourselves on the quality of those investigations, as I wouldn't call them aggressive, but persistent. I think, you know, we're not there to do mudslinging. We're there to just really determine whether someone who wants to occupy a very important position in our community has what it takes to do so. And we also discuss issues of diversity. So that includes not only whether the candidate is diverse, but also just the sensitivity of that candidate to the diverse individuals who will be coming before them. It's very important to us that they understand the type of community that Philadelphia is and are responsive to its needs.
Excellent. So we're not only electing incoming judges this cycle, we're also going to be deciding on retention candidates. So how does that work? How are they subject to investigation in the process for recommendation?
Right. So each of the judges up for a new 10-year term as a judge does not face a political race in the sense of potential opposition, but it's really an up or down vote as to whether they should continue in their current position. And just as the candidates who are running for the first time to become a judge do, the retention candidates, as we call them, or the retention judges, fill out a very detailed questionnaire disclosing all sorts of information, not only about cases that have come before them and the attorneys who have appeared before them in some of their more significant cases, but also whether they have had judgments against them or disciplinary actions taken against them, etc. Then that is evaluated by the members of the commission, in addition to a survey that is sent out anonymously to all attorneys in Philadelphia to comment about the qualities of each retention candidate. We don't take those at face value because we refuse to make any decision based on an anonymous amount of information. It's got to be something that is given to us by someone willing to identify themselves. But nevertheless, we use those surveys as a jumping off point to figure out which judges require greater scrutiny. And then we vote on that, and we assign teams just as we do with respect to lawyer candidates running for the first time, to do a full investigation, to meet with the judge, to read the judge's opinions, to talk to attorneys who have appeared before that judge, etc. And then that judge comes before the commission, as would any candidate. We talk to that judge and then vote confidentially.
Are there, I imagine are there rules or guidelines that guide the commission's operation to make sure everything is handled the way you like?
There are bylaws that are available on our website which create the structure of the commission, and then there are guidelines which address with greater detail how we are supposed to be evaluating each candidate. Not only those criteria that I listed, but just greater depth in describing what we mean by character and integrity, what we mean by knowledge of the law and knowledge of the rules, and proper temperament, etc. Those words can mean something different to different people. So the guidelines, which again are available on our website, flesh that out in a meaningful way.
And so on the Committee of 70's webpage, on our interactive voter guide, we list the candidates, and then we have a note on there if they're highly recommended, recommended, or not recommended. And so if you're watching today, you want to go to that page and see that, see each individual's recommendation. It's a really, really valuable tool. I use the Bar Association's recommendations, or the Commission's recommendations for this for sure. And so,
yeah, and not to interrupt, but
no,
I don't know whether your site links to ours or not, but ours are also available on a separately named URL, which is electqualifiedjudges.com. So either way, they can get there. And I also forgot to mention, of course, that among the lay members of our commission is a member, an employee of the Committee of 70, Pat Christmas, who is amazing, and he was among my choices for nomination to the commission because he has such a terrific reputation and has been a real asset to the commission.
Wonderful. That's great to hear. Great. That's great. We love Pat. Is there any information that voters should know about highly recommended, recommended, not recommended, and beyond what is on your website, or is, it's kind of a clear statement what those three categories mean? Is there anything else that voters should know about those three classifications?
Yeah, I think they should go first to those who are highly recommended, because those are the candidates that we really feel are superlative in meeting and exceeding the criteria that we've set. But a recommendation, getting the rating of recommended, is still a very high level rating. And I know the candidates themselves candidly get a little upset if they miss that higher level. We created it really to just kind of set apart those who really are deserving of extra attention. But the fact is, everyone who is recommended has met those criteria, has undergone this very thorough evaluation, and so they shouldn't be deemed like sliced bread, that sort of thing. They really ought to be recognized for the fine candidates that they are.
That's great to know. That's great to know. And so you all, do you do any work with the statewide Bar Association as far as their recommendations go, or those, because the state has the Pennsylvania Bar, those recommendations as well, right?
Yes. So we don't coordinate our work. There was 1 year during the pandemic when our resources were limited, and we adopted some of their recommendations with respect to appellate candidates. But no, we work separately. So it's a helpful secondary resource to just see how other bar associations have evaluated candidates. We made a decision many years ago to only evaluate those appellate candidates who have connections to Philadelphia, because we felt that we had some value to bring to that process, having contacts within the Philadelphia community to find out how those candidates were viewed. And we saw that Allegheny County, for example, was only evaluating the Allegheny County candidates. So we wanted to make sure the Philadelphia candidates also had that opportunity. We have found that those Philadelphia candidates, as shown on that electqualifiedjudges.com website, really are terrific candidates.
Great. Well, I will speak from my own personal endorsement that your all's work is really, really valuable as a voter, and it's what are called low information elections.
Yes,
we're not seeing a lot of ads or information on some of these lower level court races, and so you all provide a really, really valuable service Republican, Democrat, whatever the party, that's not important on this. It's purely nonpartisan. So we really appreciate all the work.
Absolutely. And we realized early on that voters were just looking at ballot position. You know, if they were told to vote, let's say, for 10 judges for the Court of Common Pleas, they'd feel lost and just would go, they'd tick off 1 through 10.
Right.
And since our process has geared up, and most recently, since our efforts to publicize our recommendations have increased, we found for the last 2 cycles that only recommended judges have been elected in Philadelphia at the Common Pleas and municipal court level. So we're very gratified by that the message is getting out, and that people recognize that even if they have to go lower down on that list and tick off a name which sadly ended up low in that ballot position, that it's worth doing so. And those folks have in fact been elected.
That's great. So you all are doing good work on the promo side too, as well, to get your word out there. That's fantastic.
It's just as important.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Marc. I know you're busy, so we'll let you go unless you had anything else. But we really appreciate your work. And
yeah, my final comment is just that as a bar association, we strongly support merit selection of judges, but we recognize that the political climate right now does not favor that. And so we're just doing the best we can to make sure that candidates of merit get elected by getting that word out about those who have those qualities.
Absolutely. Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you, Marc Zucker. And just continue to stay abreast of Committee of 70's Election Day programming. If you're watching this live, we have programming all throughout the day on a range of issues that are related to the election today. Make sure you go vote. If you are in line tonight by 8 o'clock, you are entitled to vote. Turn in your mail-in ballot at one of the drop boxes around the city today. We are excited to continue working with the Philadelphia Bar Association.
Thanks for all your good work. Bye-bye.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.